Hi, I'm Nada. Today we are heading out for a day trip from Moscow to explore Vladimir and Suzdal. We started early in the morning and took a cab to the railway station. Boarding the train was simple. They checked our passports and we got in. After a 1.5 hour journey, we finally reached Vladimir. But once we got there, we realized something unexpected. There was almost no network, so booking a cab through apps wasn't really possible. Instead, we decided to slow down. Right opposite the station, we found a supermarket. We went in, picked some snacks, and found a cute little cafe in the same building. We grabbed a coffee and just sat there for a while. Luckily, there were local taxis available. It was around 2000 ruble for the ride. And finally, we reached Suzdal. The moment we stepped out of the car, we knew this day was going to feel different. We started walking slowly through the town, taking in every little detail. Suzdal felt like a real-life fairy tale. At one point, we entered a building just to sit for a while. No rush, no plans, just soaking it all in. And then we saw something straight out of a dream. A troika horse carriage. It literally looked like Cinderella's ride. We started walking towards the Cathedral of the Nativity of the Virgin. It is one of the most iconic landmarks in Suzdal, dating back to the 12th century. We spent some quiet time near the cathedral, just sitting and looking around. Suzdal is actually the part of Russia's famous Golden Ring towns, known for preserving old Russian culture, wooden architecture, and centuries old monasteries. From there, we started walking towards a museum of wooden architecture. On the way, we crossed a small bridge, and underneath, the entire river was completely frozen. We continued walking in the cold and found a tiny little spot selling hot tea and gingerbread. We ordered a flavored tea, sat there, and just warmed ourselves for a bit. We finally reached the Museum of Wooden Architecture. This place is like stepping into the past. It is an open-air museum that showcases how people in rural Russia lived centuries ago. Inside, you will see different type of homes: simple farmer house, merchant homes, and houses of more well-to-do families. Each one is designed to show their lifestyle, their kitchen, their furnitures, and their daily life. Walking through those wooden homes, you don't feel like you are in a museum. It feels like you have quietly entered someone's life from another time. This windmill dates back to 18th and 19th century and a key part of this museum, primarily used for milling grain into flour. The cold was intense at this point, but somehow we didn't want it to rush. After finishing the museum, we took a different route back towards the town. On the way, we found a simple bench by roadside overlooking the river. We sat there for a while. Suzdal itself is not just a place to visit. It's a place you experience, especially in winters. Everything here felt different. The silence, the snow, the cold air that hits your face. It's not just cold, it's deep countryside winter cold. We then decided to find something to eat and then found this beautiful countryside restaurant. The vibe there was something we hadn't experienced before. It felt real, like everyday life in the countryside. And then it was time for us to leave. Honestly, a part of me didn't want to. A part of me is still here in Suzdal. We booked a cab and started our journey back to Vladimir, a quiet 2-hour drive. We then reached Vladimir. The first thing you will see here is the beautiful Assumption Cathedral. It was once the main church of medieval Russia. Nearby there is a viewpoint. You can just walk up the step and get a full panoramic view of the city. Vladimir is one of the oldest cities in Russia and was once the medieval capital of the country. We kept walking through the streets, passing by a park nearby. At one point, we even stepped into a shopping mall just to warm up a little. We found a cozy cafe and spent some time there. We also saw the iconic Golden Gate. This is one of the main landmarks of Vladimir, a historic gateway that once marked the entrance to the old city. And just like that, it was time for us to head back. Waited for a train and began our journey back to Moscow. And with that, we wrapped up our day. I'll see you in my next vlog. Bye.